Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. Now today we are starting off in the O'Reilly's parking lot because I just door dashed for a little while with the fucking misfire. It's honestly, it's not running the worst, but it's definitely not running the best. But I just picked up some spark plugs and some seafoam, and I'm waiting back to hear from Julian because we're gonna go and pick up that coil rail. I think it is the coil rail that is bad, because yesterday after I ended the video, I scanned the car and it's misfiring on cylinder 6. So I swapped spark plugs on 6 and 5. And if it was the spark plug, then the misfire would have moved to cylinder 5, but instead it moved to cylinder 3. So the only real option there is that the coil rail is bad and that it's arcing internally and something's going on there. So we're gonna put a new coil pack in it along with some brand new, these are copper Champion spark plugs. Oh, you can't even see them. I wasn't looking at the camera. These are Champion copper spark plugs, and these are the ones that came in the engine stock. These are the ones that are rated for this car. There's some iridium NGKs in there right now. Some people say that since it has the newer coil pack in it, it's supposed to have the newer iridium spark plugs in it, but that is not true. From factory, it came with copper spark plugs. There's like a little label on the inside. I'll show you. Alright, so under the hood right here, you can see spark plugs. It is RC12ECC 0.0035 inch gap. And that's exactly what these spark plugs are. It's the copper Champion spark plugs. You can even see it on the packaging right here. RC12ECC, and they came pre-gapped already. I also went and I bought some seafoam because we are going to be putting some in the engine and then some in the fuel, because I want to see if that helps clear out some of the oil passages and the injectors a little bit, because when it was overheating, when the head was cracked, the oil probably got pretty sludgy because of the coolant going into the oil, and it might have clogged some of the passages, and I just want to clear it out. We're going to put this in it, run it for a while, and then change the oil. And I also want to try and see if I can clean these injectors out, because God knows how long these injectors have been in here. They are OEM, except for this one. So these could be the ones that came from factory. So we're going to throw some of this in it. Apparently this works really well. And yeah, so I'll throw you guys back on when we get to Julian's and we put the new spark plugs in it along with the new coil pack. And then we're going to throw this in it at the same time. And we're gonna crank her up, and hopefully she's not misfiring anymore. Alright, so we're on the way to Julian's house right now, or his shop even, and she is not a happy camper. It was just had a solid check engine light, and then when I would start to slow down, then it would start to flash, but it is constantly flashing right now, and it is misfiring like crazy. I did dump that seafoam in the engine, in the oil and in the gas. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. It really shouldn't. But she is angry. Put it in neutral. I think it's a little bit better. But hopefully we only have 6 minutes to go. So hopefully we make it there. We throw the coil pack in it and she starts behaving along with the spark plugs. Oh, I'm gonna put it in drive. There we go. Alright, so I got my old coil pack out. This is one of the newer ones. This is aftermarket, it's not OEM, but it is newer and it should work if it is the coil pack. So let's crank it up and see if it starts, see if it idles funky. Let's let it idle for a second, even itself out. I mean, it sounds a lot better. Yeah, I think it was the oil pack. I think that fixed it. Alright, so we're taking the spark plugs out, and I accidentally snapped one off in the head. You can like barely see it. You know, you can't see it, but there's the top half of it. Hopefully we'll still be able to get that out since the nut portion of it's still on there. And luckily we are changing them. All right, so we got the OEM coil pack on, the new copper plugs in. Let's start it up and see if it sounds any different. We don't have anything to erase the codes with, so hopefully the codes will just settle themselves. Does sound like a little misfire though. So like boom, 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 boom. Alright, so it's still idling pretty rough. It doesn't really sound like it's misfiring, but it's definitely idling weird. And it's leaking a lot of oil out of the rear main seal, and there's a lot of hot air blowing out of the rear main seal as well. So we're currently going to be following Julian to his house, and we're going to scan it with his scanner, clear the code, and then run it, see if the light comes back on, see what we're looking like. But it seems like it has positive crankcase pressure, which is bad. So we're gonna discuss that in a little bit. I'll tell you what my plans probably are gonna be. But yeah, we're just gonna follow Julian home and get this bitch scanned. So we made it to Julian's, and we scanned it, and it's just been idling for a little bit. And Julian noticed that my cat is literally...
Here, let me shut it there. It's got the darkness.
Look how red. Oh my god. The cat is literally bright red. That's not good. Alright, so we're thinking the reason that the exhaust was that hot and glowing red was this injector right here, number 3. It was misfiring on number 3. It's super puffy and it looks like it's broken. So we're going to put this injector in. This is a 4-hole injector. It shouldn't affect anything, being that one's a 4-hole and the others aren't. But pretty much the reason that it would cause it to get super hot is if this injector is just stuck open and it's just dumping fuel in there, it's going to cause a misfire, and all that unignited fuel is going to go into the exhaust, into the cat, and burn in the cat, and it's going to get super hot like that. Alright you guys, it is the next day. I ended up crashing in Julian's driveway in the Jeep because we cannot drive it with the catalytic converter getting that hot. So today we are going to be dropping the cat, seeing pretty much if it is melted on the inside. And if it is, we're going to be hollowing it out so that it doesn't get that red hot anymore. I'm thinking pretty much what happened is there's a bolt on the underside of the intake manifold that's a little loose, so it's not completely sealing. And I think it's making the air to fuel mixture too lean, so that's why it was misfiring. And it was misfiring so much that it was dumping fuel into the cat and causing it to clog. And it would make sense that it was this cat that was getting clogged because the bolt is like right in this area. So it would be one of these fuel injectors that would be dumping the fuel in. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna try and tighten that bolt down. And hopefully we'll be good to go by the end of today. I keep saying that, and then there's just more and more shit that's happening, but I'm pretty confident that this will fix it. Alright, so we got the cats out, or the pre-cats out, and they look completely fine inside. They're not all melted like we thought. The side that got really hot, it is a little bit more scrunched up inside, but it's not bad at all. So it wasn't the cat that was the issue. All the underside bolts were pretty loose on the intake manifold, so I have to yell at Gio about that because that was him. So we tightened those up. There's one it's still like there's a gap between the head and the washer, and it's super tight. So we're gonna pull that bolt out, put a washer on it, and then tighten it back up. So making sure the intake manifold is snug against the head, because I'm thinking that it might have been leaking out of the bottom of the intake manifold, and that's why it was misfiring so bad. And then we're going to put it all back together, and if it's still misfiring and it's still, the cat is getting that red, it's got to be injectors that are bad in the back. One of these 3 in the back has to be bad. So we're going to do that, and then I'll update you guys and let you know how it goes. Alright, so we got the manifold bolts back in, and we're going to try and start it with just the header open to see if it's spraying fuel out. because then we'll know that one of these injectors is stuck open, and that's why the cat is getting that hot. So I'm gonna set the camera up somewhere so that you guys can see, and yeah. Alright, so Julian has an extra computer that we're going to try and throw this into it. This is from 2001, and we're going to see if that's the problem. Because if not, then it's got to be either the injectors or God knows what else, because honestly at this point I'm a little lost. Alright, so Julian just went to the dump real quick, but he left me here with the task of just trying to see if any of these injectors are leaking. So pretty much I pulled the fuel rail off, and I'm going to have Bella turn the ignition on to prime the fuel pump. And if any of these start to drip, I know that they're bad and that they're stuck open. Alright, you guys, so it is the next day. I stopped recording. We were doing a bunch of tests last night and we just could not figure it out. We put brand new injectors in this thing. All of these injectors, except for I think 2 of them, are the 4-hole injectors now. We tried a different computer, same thing. Cat was starting to glow red. It was shooting out white smoke, which means it is shooting, it's misfiring and dumping raw fuel in the exhaust. But last night after we left, because it was driving after we put all that stuff together, it was driving fine. And after like 10 minutes going down the road, it got a check engine light. It started idling really rough, so I pulled into a McDonald's parking lot, and it shut off and it wouldn't turn back on. So last night we stayed in the McDonald's parking lot in Beep, and then we just got it towed back to Bella's dad's house today. And this is where we currently stand. I need to get better at filming like all the stuff that I'm doing, because it's like a huge time jump and like a bunch of stuff missing from what actually happened. But I think I kind of know what's wrong with it. First things first, another vacuum line broke. This one right here broke, and it was causing it to idle funky, as broken vacuum lines do. If we ever do like fix Penny and get her running good, I want to replace all the vacuum lines with new ones, because they're so brittle and they break so easily. But I think the idle air control valve is what the problem is now, because it's giving all the signs that it is the idle air control valve. And if you don't know what that is, it's this guy right here, and it pretty much controls how much air is going into the intake, at least I think. But I can get it to start, and you're gonna see how hard it is to get this thing to start, but I can get it to start. Yeah, it's gonna get real rough. It's down at like probably like 500 RPM range, and then you hear the sucking coming from up here. And where did I put that? Yeah, so this inlet right here goes right to the idle air control valve. Let me shut it off so you can actually hear what I'm talking about. But yeah, that inlet right there is the idle air control valve, and it is sucking really hard to the point that you can literally hear it over the engine. So I'm thinking that the idle air control valve is stuck open. I also found, you can see these wires. We're gonna focus. This fucking camera lens sucks. 2 of the wires are broken, so maybe it like shorted it out and fucked the fuse up. Or the sensor up. But as soon as you put your finger over the inlet, it starts to calm down a little bit. So I'm guessing it is the idle air control valve, because as soon as you put it in drive, it just dies. And it's giving like all the signs that it is the idle air control valve. So I'm guessing that's the next thing we're gonna try. I do need to go to the storage unit and get the Passat's turbo because I am selling it on Marketplace, and I'm gonna get my compression tester while I'm there, and we're gonna go test a compression on all the cylinders and see if there's low compression anywhere. But if it's not low compression anywhere and we put a new idle air control valve into this thing, then I'm guessing either one of the valves is stuck open or something with the head, because this all started to happen after we put the head in. It's got so many new parts. It has a new CPS, new injectors, new spark plugs, new coil rail. We tried a new computer on it, and it was still doing the same thing. We looked into the cat wasn't clogged. So yeah, I guess this is where I am going to be ending off today's video. It's not where I want to end off today's video. Next video is probably going to be a big update on like our plans for the trip, because we're obviously not leaving anytime soon now. Probably not leaving till after Christmas, but I'm going to update you guys in the next video. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Peace.